patient triggers new COVID-19 clusters in Pengerang, Johor. Immigration Department to introduce new SOPs for entry of foreigners. Good afternoon, thanks for joining us and you're watching Updates at Noon. I'm Azlani. Malaysia had discharged 103 more patients as of noon on Wednesday. This means there are only 1,987 active cases currently treated at the country's health facilities. 3,452 patients have recovered from COVID-19 in Malaysia since the outbreak began. Health Director General Datuk Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said Malaysia's COVID-19 recovery rate is now at 62.4% out of the total number of positive cases. There are currently 43 patients being treated at intensive care units (ICU), with 25 of them requiring the use of ventilators. Malaysia has also recorded one more COVID-19 fatality, taking the country's death toll to 93.
Kes kematian ke-93 iaitu kes 5,483 merupakan perempuan warga negara Malaysia berumur 72 tahun dan mempunyai latar belakang penyakit barah dan darah tinggi. Beliau telah dirawat di Hospital Umum Sarawak pada 20 April 2020 dan disahkan meninggal dunia pada 22 April 2020 jam 9 suku pagi.
Meanwhile, Dr. Noor Hisham also announced a new COVID-19 cluster which was detected in Pengerang, Johor after a patient who was initially suspected to have dengue fever travelled across a few states to visit relatives. The Health Director General said the patient had symptoms on 12 March and was treated at a private clinic on 16 March. Dr. Noor Hisham said the cluster involved 15 cases, including the patient's 79-year-old mother and daughter, aged 10.
Keadaan kesihatan beliau mula merosot dan dimasukkan ke Hospital Sultanah Aminah Johor pada 20 Mac 2020 dalam keadaan kritikal. Beliau seterusnya disahkan positif jangkitan COVID-19 pada 22 Mac 2020.
Dr. Noor Hisham said the Pengerang cluster and the Rembau subcluster were examples on the importance of adhering to the movement control order. On another note, Dr. Noor Hisham said the Health Ministry has cautioned Malaysians against balik kampung during the month of Ramadan for fear it could spark new COVID-19 clusters. He said taking lessons from the new Pengerang cluster and the Rembau subcluster, the public is asked to remain in compliance with the Movement Control Order (MCO) and refrain from visiting their families or friends.
Dan elak daripada melakukan sebarang aktiviti kunjung-mengunjung ke rumah rakan dan sanak saudara. Ini termasuk perjalanan berentas negeri, daerah dan mukim atau menghadiri perhimpunan besar-besaran termasuk majlis keagamaan dan majlis kerajaan.
The Immigration Department will come up with several new standard operating procedures, SOPs, for entry of foreigners after the Movement Control Order (MCO) ends, in an effort to curb the spread of COVID-19. Immigration Director General Datuk Khairul Zaimi Daud said the SOPs would be brought to the attention of the Home Ministry for approval. Datuk Khairul Zaimi said the SOPs were still being studied based on the experiences acquired during the pandemic, which has swept the world since December last year.
Sekarang semua warga negara asing memang disekat kemasukan, kecuali duta-duta dan perwakilan asing ataupun mereka yang menjadi penduduk tetap di sini. Yang ini kita benarkan masuk. Selain kategori ini, kita sekat kemasukan dan selepas ini kemasukan pelawat daripada lain-lain kategori, khususnya pelancong, yang ini akan diperketatkan syarat-syaratnya sehinggalah wabak ini disejarakan berakhir.
He added that the conditions for the foreigners seeking entry to Malaysia would be tightened at all entry points even after the MCO ends, among them even if not having any COVID-19 symptoms. On another note, Datuk Khairul Zaimi said there have been no COVID-19 infections reported so far at the 14 immigration detention depots nationwide. He said the department had been screening foreigners for the infection even before the movement control order came into force.
Alhamdulillah setakat ini kita masih belum ada lagi kluster daripada warga negara asing yang masuk dalam tempoh PKP, dan saya dan semua pegawai-pegawai di pintu masuk yang lain, semua pelawat adalah dilarang daripada memasuki kawasan depo, sama ada saudara mara tahanan, rakan-rakan, dan termasuklah juga lawatan-lawatan daripada pihak-pihak tertentu yang memohon untuk masuk daripada agensi antarabangsa contohnya, dilarang sepanjang tempoh PKP ini.
Meanwhile, he said the immigration detention depots were also operating as usual, with 10,500 foreigners held in centres nationwide as of 21st April. According to Datuk Khairul Zaimi, 1,022 Indonesians were sent back to their country in the first phase of the deportation program on 9th and 10th April. The second phase of the deportation program to be implemented today involves 145 Thai detainees, while 607 Bangladeshis will be deported on 26th April in Phase 3. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad Al-Bakri, has called on Muslims in the country to perform their Tarawih prayers during Ramadan at home with their respective families. Since most normally do it at the mosque, the PM's department, in cooperation with the Federal Territories Islamic Religious Department, JAWI, have come up with a short demonstration clip on how to perform the Tarawih at home.
Solat tarawih ni sunat. Jadi yang pentingnya kita lakukan solat. Mungkin kalau kita ada keluarga sampai rumah kita boleh dengan keluarga, maka itu lagi baiklah. Tapi kalau kita seorang-seorang tak jadi masalah. Yang penting kita buat tarawih. Kita buat seorang-seorang pun tak jadi masalah, insya-Allah.
Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli explained further that the Tarawih prayers, usually done congregationally at mosques, can also be performed alone. The Johor State Government has announced a one-off RM200 incentive to each trader who register on its e-Bazaar platform to assist them continue selling their products online. The incentive is expected to benefit some 5,000 businesses in the state. Housing and Local Government Exco Ayub Jamil said those interested need to register with two system applications, namely e-Bazaar and Get Makan.
Bagi peniaga luar bandar di kampung dan bukan di kawasan pentadbiran PBT seperti rancangan Felda, Felkra serta kawasan rancangan yang lain, peniaga terlibat akan dikenal pasti dan diselaraskan di bawah portfolio pengurusi Jawatankuasa Pertanian, Industri Asas Tani, Kemajuan Luar Bandar melalui pejabat daerah seluruh negeri Johor.
According to Ayub, traders need to fulfill several conditions before they are able to receive the incentive. They need to go for typhoid injection, possess valid food handling certificate, register with service providing company approved by the Johor Entrepreneur Corporation Berhad, PUJB, and have been in business at least 7 days during Ramadan. They also have a valid bank account under their company's name registered with the local council. For those who do not have a bank account, they can go directly to the local councils and district office to receive the incentive in cash. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, Kedah and Perlis divisions have successfully arrested two Myanmar nationals believed to be masterminds behind a spate of smuggling of illegal Rohingya immigrants into the country. According to MMEA, each Rohingya individuals were charged 15,000 ringgit if they wish to enter the country, especially through the waters of Langkawi, Pulau Pinang and Johor. Kedah and Perlis MMEA Deputy Director of Operations, Captain Zulinda Ramli, said the first arrest was made on a 36-year-old Myanmarese on 16 April at Simpang Empat in Alustar. She added the second suspect, aged 31, was then arrested in Gua Cempedak on 18th April.
Setakat ni untuk siasatan awal, modus operandi dia adalah mereka menggunakan sebuah bot daripada Myanmar, sebuah bot besar daripada bot besar tu sebagai motherboard yang diuruskan oleh pihak sindiket. So sampai ke tengah laut ataupun persepadanan perairan Malaysia, mereka akan transfer kepada bot-bot kecil untuk dibawa masuk ke Malaysia lah.
The two suspects were detained under Section 26A of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants (ATIPSOM) Act 2007 (ATIPSOM). Captain Zulinda said MMEA are still on the hunt for another suspect who they believe was another mastermind behind the recent smuggling of illegal immigrants in Langkawi on 5th April. That concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story, patient triggers new COVID-19 cluster in Pengerang, Johor. Join us again at 7 p.m. for more updates on the latest happenings around the world. But before we go, don't forget to wash your hands regularly, practice social distancing, and most of all, let's adhere to the movement control order and just stay at home. Thank you, I'm Azlani Adani. Stay tuned to TV2.